This lecture comprises of first part of chapter 1 chemical reactions and equations of the science NCERT textbook of class 10th. So chapter 1 chemical reactions and equations, it is further divided into 3 sections. 1.1 chemical equation, which comprises writing a chemical equation and balanced chemical equations. Section 1.2 types of chemical reactions, and then this we have to study combination reaction, decomposition reaction, displacement reaction, double displacement reaction, and oxidation and reduction. And the third section, which has the title, Have you observed the effects of oxidation reactions in everyday life? And in this 2 topics need to be studied, corrosion and rancidity. So in this lecture we will study the first section, chemical equations, in which writing a chemical equation and how to balance chemical equation. So before moving further into the chapter, first we'll start with the introduction. Consider the following situations of daily life and think what happens when milk is left at room temperature during summers. An iron, tawa, pan or nail is left exposed to humid atmosphere. Grapes get fermented, food is cooked, food gets digested in our body, or what happens when we respire. So in all the above situations, the nature and the identity of the initial substance have somewhat changed. So this activity is given in the textbook, activity 1.1. In this, burning of magnesium ribbon in air and collection of magnesium oxide in a watch glass. In this, a magnesium ribbon about 3 to 4 centimeter long is rubbed with a sandpaper first, and then it is held with a pair of tongs, and it is burned with the help of spirit lamp or burner. And when we burn magnesium ribbon, we can see ashes, and this ash is collected in a watch glass. So magnesium ribbon, it burns with a dazzling white flame and changes into a white powder. Here we can see in the watch glass, it is a white powder-like substance, and this powder is magnesium oxide. It is formed due to the reaction between magnesium and oxygen present in the air. So there's another activity in the book, activity 1.2. In this, lead nitrate, it is a solution, it is a colorless solution. As we can see, lead nitrate is taken, and in this lead nitrate, potassium iodide solution is added, and this potassium iodide is also a colorless solution. So when we add potassium iodide to lead nitrate, what happens? We can see a yellow color substance is formed. And when we further add this potassium iodide, we can see lead iodide is formed, and this precipitates at the bottom. So solid yellowish precipitate is observed, and this yellowish solid is lead iodide. And potassium nitrate is also formed along with lead iodide. So this is activity 1.2. Now next one is activity 1.3. In this, zinc granules are taken in a conical flask, or we can take in a test tube. And in that zinc granules, we have to add dilute sulfuric acid or hydrochloric acid. So what happens when these acids are added to zinc granules? Here we can see in the diagram, bubbles are formed and a gas is evolved, and this gas is hydrogen gas which is evolved. So zinc reacts with dilute sulfuric acid to form zinc sulfate, and hydrogen gas is evolved. So when this hydrogen gas which is evolved is collected, and when we try to burn this hydrogen gas, a pop sound is, we can hear a pop sound. It is very important. When hydrogen gas is burned, it gives a pop sound, and this pop sound comes from the small explosion formed by the burning of hydrogen with oxygen. So from the above 3 activities, we can say that any of the following observations help us to determine whether a chemical reaction has taken place. So from all these activities, we saw that there was change in the state in the first activity where magnesium ribbon was burned, and the state of ribbon changed into ashes. Change in color. In the second activity, there was change in color, and the third activity in which sulfuric acid or hydrochloric acid was added to zinc granules, hydrogen gas was evolved, and in that temperature also changes. When we touch the beaker or the conical flask, we can feel that heat is also evolved. That is an exothermic reaction. So change in state, change in color, evolution of a gas, and change in temperature we can find. And so we can say that these criteria determine chemical reaction. Now the changes around, we can summarize as changes around us. We can find mainly two changes: physical changes and the chemical changes. So physical changes, those changes in which no new substances are formed. Physical changes may alter the shape, size, color, or density of the original substance. And the chemical changes, those changes in which new substances with new properties are formed. And these chemical changes, we can write them in a form of chemical reaction and process in which new substances with new properties are formed when two or more substances react. And this chemical reaction, it can be written in a simplified way. It is a symbolic representation of a chemical reaction. So chemical equation, it is the symbolic representation of a chemical reaction. And the chemical equation, it is of two types: skeletal equation and balanced equation. Skeletal equation is that equation which is not balanced, and balanced equation, the equation which is balanced. So we will see further what are the difference between skeletal equation and balanced equation. So first we'll see chemical equations. How writing a chemical equation, how can we write a chemical equation? So in activity 1.1, this can be described as when a magnesium ribbon is burnt in oxygen, it gets converted to magnesium oxide. So it can be written in a shorter form, in the form of word equation, like magnesium plus oxygen, it gives magnesium oxide. So the left hand side we write the reactants and the right hand side we write the product. So the substances that undergo chemical change in the reaction, magnesium and oxygen, these are the reactants, and the new substance is magnesium oxide. So this is the product. So reactants, the substance that undergo chemical change in the reaction, example magnesium and oxygen, and the product, the new substance formed in the reaction, is the product, magnesium oxide. So word equation shows change of reactants to products through a arrow placed between them. The reactants are written on the left hand side, LHS, with a plus sign between them, and similarly products are written on the right hand side with a plus sign between them. The arrow, it points towards the products and shows the direction of the reaction. Now the chemical equations can be made more concise and useful if we use chemical formulae instead of words. So for magnesium we can write Mg plus oxygen O2, oxygen gas, and magnesium oxide MgO. Count and compare the number of atoms of each element on the left hand side and right hand side of the arrow. So is the number of atoms of each element same on both sides? If yes, then the equation is balanced, and if not, this is the unbalanced equation or the skeletal chemical equation. So here we can see magnesium 1 atom, here oxygen has 2 atoms, and in the product side we can find 1 magnesium atom and only 1 oxygen atom. So this reaction is not balanced, and therefore this is a skeletal chemical equation. Now we can see the difference more clearly. Skeletal equation which is not balanced. Here we have taken an example of potassium and chlorine. Here 2 potassium atoms are there and 2 chlorine atoms are there. So these are the reaction, 2 potassium and 2 chlorine. It gives potassium chloride, and we can see that in the product side there is only 1 potassium atom and only 1 chloride atom. So when we make a table like this, we'll write which are the elements present: potassium and chloride, reactants and products. So in the left hand side, LHS, potassium 2 atoms are there, and on the right hand side potassium 1 atom is there. In the left hand side, in the reactant side, chlorine 2 atoms are there, and on the right hand side chloride is only 1 atom. So we can see in the reactant side, potassium is 2, products 1, and then chlorine is 2 in the reactant side and only 1 atom in the product side. Therefore, this is not a balanced chemical equation, and therefore it is a skeletal equation. So now in another equation, we can see that there are 2 potassium atoms and 2 chloride atoms, and the product side also 2 potassium and 2 chloride. So the reactants, when we make a table again like this, we write potassium and chloride. So we can write reactants and products. So in the left hand side, in the reactant side, we can see there are 2 potassium atoms, we write 2 here, and then 2 chloride atoms, we write 2. 2 chloride atoms, we write 2 here. And again 2 potassium chloride means 2 for potassium and 2 chloride atom. So here we can see in the reactants and product side, both sides, there are 2 atoms of potassium and chloride. Therefore, this is a balanced chemical equation. So now we will move to the how to balance the chemical equations. So we can recall from the class 9 study that about the law of conservation of mass. So what is law of conservation of mass? The law of conservation of mass states that mass can neither be created nor destroyed in a chemical reaction. So that is, the total mass of the elements present in the products of a chemical reaction has to be equal to the total mass of the elements present in the reactants. In other words, the number of atoms of each element remains the same before and after a chemical reaction. Hence, we need to balance a skeletal chemical equation. Now, balancing a chemical equation. How to balance a chemical equation? Suppose we'll take another example here. Iron plus H2O, that is iron plus water, it gives iron oxide Fe3O4 plus H2, that is hydrogen gas is released. So first step to balance a chemical reaction, we have to list the number of atoms of different elements present in the chemical equation. First of all, we'll see what are the elements present in the chemical reaction. So first of all, we'll make a table like this. In the first column, we'll write elements. In this, iron, that is Fe, hydrogen is present and oxygen is present. So iron, hydrogen and oxygen, these are the elements present in this chemical reaction. In another column, we will write reactants. So here we will write number of atoms of the elements of the reactant side and the product side. So on the reactant side, iron, how many atoms are there of iron? So here we can see only 1 atom of iron. So we will write 1 here. And in the product side, iron, we can see we have 3 atoms of iron. So we will write 3 in the product side. Similarly, for hydrogen, in the reactant side, we have 2 atoms of hydrogen because it is H2, 2 atoms. So we will write 2 here. And in the product side, here also we can see H2, here 2 atoms of hydrogen are present. Again, oxygen, in the reactant side, 1 atom of oxygen is present. So we'll write 1 here, and in the product side, O4, 4 atoms of oxygen are present. So we will write 4 here. So now when we look at this table, we can see that iron, hydrogen and oxygen, these elements are present in this chemical equation. And in the the reactant side, 1 atom is present, and the product side, 3 atoms are present. Hydrogen, 2 atoms are present on the reactant side, and the products, 2 atoms are present in the product side. Oxygen, 1 atom is present, and products, 4 atoms. So we can see only hydrogen has equal number of atoms in both the reactants and the product side. But iron and oxygen, they don't have equal number of atoms both on the reactants and the product side. So this is the unbalanced equation, that is, this is the skeletal equation, and now we have to balance this chemical equation. So first step is, first you have to list the number of atoms. First you have to list what are the different elements present, and then number of atoms on the reactant side and the product side. Next, so step 2 is We can start balancing with compound that contains the maximum number of atoms. It may be a reactant or a product. So in that compound, select the element which has the maximum number of atoms. So here you can see we'll select Fe3O4. This compound, it has got the maximum number of atoms, and in this also oxygen O4. Oxygen has the maximum number of atoms. There are 4 oxygen atoms on the RHS and only 1 on the LHS. So here oxygen has the maximum number of atoms, so we will start with oxygen. So to balance oxygen, on the left hand side there is only 1 oxygen, and on the right hand side there are 4 oxygen atoms. So here we can say that initially in H2O 1 oxygen is present, and in iron oxide, that is Fe3O4, 4 oxygen atoms are present. So to balance, what we can do, we can multiply 4 with 1. Here we can multiply 4. We can add 4 here in front of H2O so that it gets multiplied. So what equation we will get? Fe3 plus 4H2O gives Fe3O4 plus 4H2. So one thing we have to note, we cannot alter or change the formula of the compounds or elements involved in the reactions to equalize the number of atoms. Example, to balance oxygen atoms, we can put coefficient 4 as 4H2O and not H2O4 or H2O in the bracket 4. So we should always remember that we have to add any number which we add in the coefficient, not here as the superscript. So when we get this equation, after adding 4 in front of H2O, we find Fe3 plus 4H2O gives Fe3O4 plus H2. Again, we have to make a table like this. We list the elements, list the reactants and the products. So iron, on the reactant side we have 1 iron, on the product side 3. Hydrogen, now we can see when we add 4 here, 4 multiplied by 2, it gives 8 hydrogen. So here we will write 8 hydrogen atoms in the reactant side, and then the product side H2, only 2 atoms of hydrogen. And now oxygen, we can see 4 oxygen. So 4 we will write in the reactant side, and in the product side O4, 4 oxygen atoms. So we'll write 4 here. Now we will look at this table and we'll find that we balanced oxygen, 4 in the reactant side and the product side, but what happens? Hydrogen got unbalanced, and iron, it was already 1 and 3. So now we will try to balance these 2 elements, and in these 2 elements, hydrogen, which has got the maximum number of atoms here, so we will start with hydrogen again. So step 3, iron and hydrogen atoms are still not balanced. Now we will balance them further, so we will start with hydrogen. Now this was a chemical equation. Fe plus 4H2O gives Fe3O4 plus H2. To equalize the number of hydrogen atoms, make the number of molecules of hydrogen as 4 on the RHS. So if we initially 8, that is 8 hydrogen atoms are there in H2O, and on the product side there are only 2 hydrogen atoms. So if we multiply 2 with 4, it becomes 8. So here if we add 4, it will become 8. So Fe3 plus 4H2O gives Fe3O4. If we add 4 here, 4 multiplied by 2, it becomes 8. Now again we will make a table. FeHO, iron on the left hand reactant side is 1 and product 3. Now hydrogen, we can see on the reactant side 4 into 2, that is 8 hydrogen atoms are there, and the product side 4 into 2, that is 8 hydrogen atoms on the product side also. So now hydrogen is balanced and oxygen was already balanced. So examine the equation, and now we have to balance the leftover, that is iron. So we got this equation for Fe plus 4H2, Fe3O4 plus 4H2. So to equalize iron, here 1 iron is present on the reactant side and 3 iron atoms are present on the product side. So we can do we can multiply 1 multiplied by 3 in the reactant side, and in the product side it is to make it 3 atoms of iron. So when we write it here, 3 Fe plus 4H2O gives Fe3O4 plus 4H2. So when we make a table again, iron, 3 iron atoms, and the product also 3 iron atoms, hydrogen 8 at reactants, 8 atoms in the reactant, and hydrogen 8 atoms in the product, and oxygen 4 atoms in the reactants and 4 atoms in the product. So finally, to check the correctness of the balanced equation, we count number of atoms of each element on both sides of the equation. So now we get a balanced chemical equation. So you have to follow all these step by step. You have to make a table, and then you select the maximum number of atoms present which is unbalanced, and then try to balance it, multiplying them with the numbers. So this is the final equation which we got. Now again, one thing is that step 6, writing symbols of physical states. The above equation does not tell us anything about the physical state of each reactant and product. So to make a chemical equation more informative, the physical states of the reactants and products are mentioned along with the chemical formula. The physical state, it means the gaseous, liquid, aqueous and solid. So the gaseous state can be represented by small g, liquid is represented by small l, aqueous by aq, and solid by small s. So we have to note that the word aqueous is written if the reactant or product is present as a solution in water. So the final reaction which we get, 3Fe, which is in the solid state, plus 4H2O, gaseous state. Then iron oxide is solid state and H2 gaseous. Note that a simple G used in H2O to indicate that in this reaction water is used in the form of steam, not as liquid. Now, 2 more examples are given. Sometimes the reaction conditions such as temperature, pressure, catalyst, etc. for the reaction are indicated above or below the arrow in the equation. Like example, CO, carbon monoxide, it reacts with hydrogen gas and it forms CH3OH. Here above the arrow we write 340 atm, means this reaction is carried out at 340 atmospheric pressure. So this is the physical condition which we can state, or the reaction condition. In another example, 6CO2 plus 12H2O, it gives C6H12O6, which is glucose, and 6O2 plus 6H2O. So this reaction is also known as the photosynthesis reaction. It takes place in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. So sunlight and chlorophyll are required for this reaction to occur. So we can write the reaction conditions like this. So this was for the balancing the chemical equation. Now these are few questions which you can try it, and these are the questions from the NCERT book which you should do. Thank you.